Okay, hello, and welcome to this video. We're going to talk about Nice Bus. I know. It's just, I'm doing this the last day before the schedules change. I apologize. There's just too many other things going on. But as you see here, it says winter schedules begin January 7th. Right there. So we are going to talk about the changes they have made, and unfortunately, most of them are not good for the middle of the island. The 22 and the 24, well, especially the 24. The worst news is the 24 is going to be split now on weekends too. So it says our new winter schedules go into effect starting Sunday, January 7th, 2024. We have made service upgrades to many of our routes that will provide faster, more convenient rides and connections for our passengers' trips, except if you're in the middle of the island. So, especially this area, because this area is forget about it. So it says N1, we have changed our trip frequency to 18 to 20 minutes in both AM and PM peaks. We've also added a few short-term N1 trips that will end at Valley Stream LIRR and will not serve Green Acres or Hewlett. They spelled Hewlett wrong. N6, we have added a few short-term weekday trips that will run only between UBS and Jamaica. I guess for events. I don't know why they're doing that. N20X, we have added an N20X stop at Francis Lewis Boulevard in Northern. This stop will replace the express stop at 192 Street. Additionally, we have added an eastbound stop at Sanford and Kissena. So they're definitely trying to accommodate people that are transferring from the Queens bus routes. N22X, we've added express stops at Winchester Boulevard, Little Neck Parkway, and Glen Cove Road, Cliff Clinton Road. So I think this also makes sense. Those are busy stops. And especially Glen Cove Road in Clinton, because you have a lot of stores in that shopping center there, and we usually pick up people over there. N20, this is the bad news now. N24 will begin and end. I mean, really, they don't even spell check what they write here. At Roosevelt Field on Saturday or Sunday. Use our free transfer at the mall to travel on towards Hicksville or Mineola. So this is very bad for people east of the Roosevelt Field. This is also bad because hopefully there aren't any more shutdowns on the Long Island Railroad. But if there are, or there's some kind of problem, getting to Hicksville is going to be a lot harder now. But they don't care about that. Like I said, the middle of the island doesn't count. And basically what they're doing this, and they're going to reduce the amount of service they're providing on the N24 east of Roosevelt Field. So they've pretty much almost undid what they did in the beginning when they extended the end. Originally, the N24 always ended at Roosevelt Field. All right. Some of the trips went to East Meadow, but most of them ended at Roosevelt Field. And then you had the N78 and N79 go to Mineola. So what's the point now? Why don't you just have the N78 and N79, which they should have running more often anyway, run to Roosevelt Field again? Why not do that? That would make a lot more sense instead of ending it at Hicksville. So you have all these little short routes, and it just makes things harder for people. N35. Some trips will end and begin at Roosevelt Field instead of Westbury. So they're cutting yet more bus service in Westbury. Westbury has seen a lot of bus service cut. I'm still grateful I'm out of Westbury. If I lived in Westbury, I would be so screwed with transit. I would be getting ripped off. I'd have no choice but to get ripped off by the taxis and Ubers and Lyfts, or I don't know what I'd do. I mean, it's ridiculous with the way they treat that area. But Westbury is, this is the middle of the island. This is what they're doing. Westbury is done for. It's gone. Mineola is on its way out. The whole middle of the island is. Sunday trips that used to end at Hempstead Terminal will now be extended to Roosevelt Field. So they are extending the trips to Roosevelt Field at least, but for Westbury, they're seeing service reduced. And again, Westbury, low-income area. I don't know how they get away with this because this kind of violates the Title VI, but, New York doesn't matter. N54 and N55 buses are now scheduled for better connections to Suffolk County transit departures at Amityville, LIRR. The N72 is temporarily discontinued and replaced by N70 trips, and being that they're pretty much almost the same route now because the N72 doesn't go to Babylon anymore, they should just get rid of that designation already. It's just like the 4041. Why do they call it the 4041 when it should really just be called the N40? They're also installing bilingual public service announcements along with real-time arrival info at Mineola, which we've seen already. We've upgraded the font on our bus head signs. We're starting to install new digital bus stop signage at select bus stops that will provide real-time info. So here you go. These are the new timetables. I kind of went over it now. So now we got to do some comparison. All right, so let's first start with the N24, because that's the route at least that's the route that's going to impact me now that they're changing. All right, and we'll look at the PDF on here. So let's start with this. So hopefully you can see that. Maybe we're going to have to zoom in a little bit. All right, so here's the 24. Might have to center it a little bit better here. I don't know. So here's the 24. Hopefully you can see that. All right, so 24 weekdays is not going to change too much, so we're going to put the 24 on the screen here for the weekdays, first of all. I don't think we're going to see much of a change for the weekdays. The schedule looks different, as you see. But the weekdays, I think, pretty much stay the same. The schedule, I'll go over it here, and we'll see if they've made any changes here. I don't think they... All right, that's the new weekday schedule that we're looking at right now. Okay, so let's see if any of the times have changed. And, yes, they actually have changed. So they have actually made some changes here. So let's just put this over here, so you can see a little bit better. This is the new schedule, all right, that we're looking at for the 24, all right, on a weekday. So it looks like they've changed some of the times on the 24. So now, instead of having an 8:40, it's 8:39. Instead of having this one's a little earlier, 8:06. At least they're trying to make an effort here to connect the Hicksville routes here. You can see here, 752, 806. So they at least are trying to make an effort with that one, but not with this one. So the Hicksville routes won't, because you're going to get pretty much, they've cut the service east of the Roosevelt Field. So you're getting half-hourly service up until 6:24, and then that's it. After that, it's only hourly. So, yeah, they're reducing the service east of Roosevelt Field, which is very bad for that whole area along Old Country Road. But the ridership's gone down. You know, nice could just say we're just adjusting to the fact that the middle of the island is dying. And unfortunately, that's the truth. Because you're not getting the ridership that you used to get on Old Country Road that you used to get. Because a lot of the businesses have closed. A lot of the foot traffic has gone away. And this is why the service is being cut. So, there are some changes during the week with some of these as well. Eastbound, I think that the schedules, let's see what it looks like eastbound here. Schedules going east are a little different too. So, going east, yeah, they are different. The times are different. So, 8:30 will now be the time. So, instead of it's so the bus is going to come a little bit later. It looks like they're giving it a little more running time, and it always consistently runs late at this time. So, that kind of makes sense. But you don't really have any good connections to Hicksville service, as you see here. Not very good. So this is going to cause more people to take the 22, I think, as a result of some of these changes. I mean, 1 minute to make it, there's no way you're going to do that. You're going to have to be on the earlier one. If you're west of Roosevelt Field, this isn't so bad. But if you're east of Roosevelt Field, it's worse. Now we go to the weekend. First of all, I'll look at the old schedule here and show you that. How many trips they cut. So here we go. We're going to go look at the old schedule here. So this is the old schedule. And let's see what we had. Yes, you had half-hourly service at Hicksville. Now you're only going to have hourly after 6 o'clock. So I'm looking at the AM here. Mistake. No, actually nothing's changed. 6:22 and then 7:20. It's still hourly east. So it's still all right. That hasn't changed, I guess. All right, so the weekends, this is the big change, obviously. They're not going to have it running as one piece anymore. We're going to have it split. So you can see here, this is the schedule that's between Jamaica and Roosevelt Field to your left. This is the schedule between Roosevelt Field, Hicksville to your right. What you're going to have here is, so if we go over here, you'll see here that going to Jamaica out of Roosevelt Field, you're going to have half-hourly service till about 8:49. And then the next bus isn't until 9:35. So right now there's a 9:06 bus. Now when the mall closes, the next bus isn't going to be until 9:35. So this is actually worse for people. This is actually way worse for people. So I don't know why they did this. But this is going to cause that 9:35 bus to be crowded now as a result. You can see now if we look at the old schedule here for Saturday, going to Jamaica here, which is the column right here. You had 8:33, 9:06, but I guess you could say they have more frequency now because 9:06, 10:06, so now you don't have to have a whole hour gap for it. But you know, I mean, I still don't think the route has enough service on it. So this is the old schedule right here, and again, you're losing a lot of the. You'll still have some half-hourly service, I think, at certain times. Yeah, you'll still have some half-hourly service until 7:25 out of Roosevelt Field going east. Going to Roosevelt Field and then going to Hicksville, you're going to have hourly service pretty much all day. So it's interesting that they have more service. I guess they're having more service heading to Hicksville in the morning, and then returning to Roosevelt Field, you'll have more. All right, that kind of makes sense, I guess. But you'll see that the last trip now that goes back to, you know, it's still decent, I guess. But you know, there's definitely less service being provided east of Roosevelt Field for sure. And this is Sat-Sun, so this is the same schedule for both days here that we have. Now, Sunday, you'll see Sunday we have half-hourly service out of Roosevelt Field till about 9:54. So it looks like maybe they did actually add some service west of Roosevelt Field on a Sunday. Let's take a look at that because I think they might have. Yeah, they actually did add some service. So the old schedule is 8:18, 8:48, 9:48. The new schedule, I'm going out of Roosevelt Field now, is 8:24, 8:54, 9:39. So you have a little bit less of a gap now. You don't have those crazy hour gaps you have at Roosevelt Field, which is good. I guess they did improve some service in the western leg of the 24, which needed it. But I still think you have some gaps now at the 8:49, 9:35, not having anything between that on Saturday. You know, that means that 9:35 is going to be more crowded. And the other thing this is going to cause is more crowding on the 22. All right, so we went over the 24. Let's back this up. We'll go over the next route that they mentioned that had some changes. All right, I don't think the 22 actually had any scheduled changes to it. We'll take a look and see because it's possible they could have. So let's go to the back here and look at the 22. Yeah, this is going to be a long video because we've got to go over a lot of stuff here, right? So here we go, 22. All right, so let's see if there's any changes to the 22 schedule on weekends. Maybe not. Hopefully we won't have to really do anything too much on these. Let's see, 22. Yeah, they did make some changes. Okay, so this is the old schedule. This is the new schedule. That's Saturday. So here we are. So yeah, they reduced service on the 22. So you had an 8:14 trip out of Hicksville, 8:52 trip, and a 9:24. Now in the evenings, you're going to have an 8 o'clock trip, and then look at that, almost an hour before the next trip. This is not good at all. So they're really reducing service east of. They're really screwing Hicksville, Westbury, Carl Place. Yeah, next trip isn't until 9:26. All right, on the new schedule here. So, yeah, this trip here, this 9:18 trip is going to be crowded. This 8:54 9:18 trip is going to be this trip's going to be very crowded now as a result of that gap. So why are they doing this? I don't know. And I mean, you can always look at the schedules. I'll provide the link for you to go over. And the same thing here going on Sunday. Let's see what we got on Sunday. They spelled Sunday wrong, by the way. Oh, that's the old schedule. They did it on both. Oh my God, nice bus. Really? 8:03. All right, so let's see. We have 8:03. I think that might be yeah, this is the old schedule here. I have on the right, going out of Hicksville, you had 7:15, 7:45, 8:31. And now you have 8:03, 58. So it seems like they're running bigger gaps in service on those weekend evenings heading west. I don't get it. Those buses are crowded going out of Roosevelt Field. I mean, just tonight it was crowded when I took it. I mean, this is why I get off the 15 and walk a lot of the times. I don't want to deal with it unless it's raining because I don't want to deal with being crowded. So, yeah, it's not good, but they like to screw the middle of the island. That's not a surprise. All right, so I know. Why don't you talk about service additions? Well, let's see. We'll talk about the N1, right? So let's go to the N1 now. So they mentioned that the N1 is going to be running more often, so I can't go over every single route. I'm going to go over some of them and, just give you some of my thoughts on it. So here's the N1. All right, this is the new schedule here. And let's see, they said that they increased service with some short runs. Which ones are the ones that go? I guess, yeah, these are the short runs here. Valley Stream Station. So they have added these short runs in. I gotta put this back up here. I don't feel like it. Well, I'll just show you where they added the short runs here. So you'll see that they added some service on the N1 here. All right. They say to operate every 20 minutes, so you can have 20-minute headways between Valley Stream and Jamaica. So yeah, I really want to get this old N1 schedule up here. So I'll show you the old N1. Just compare between the old and the new. All right. So here we go, old and new. So this is the old one. Here. So here we go. So let's see what we got here. So going to Elmont, Jamaica. All right. So you had half-hourly service. Now you have every 20 minutes with the added short runs. Basically, they added some of these short runs. That's pretty much what they did with the N1. But I want to show you something else that a service improvement. Somebody posted they cut service in the 15. Actually, they didn't. They actually improved it. So let's do that next. Go to the existing 15 schedule, and we'll show you. They improved the schedule on the 15. Show you what they did. It's all about the South Shore. I'm telling you, that's civilization. If you're not, NICE knows what's going on. The LIRR knows what's going on. Everybody knows what's going on. All right. Except maybe some people out there that continue to want to be in denial about what's happening. All right. So this is the old schedule here. All right. So this is the old schedule that you see. So I'll get the new one up for the 15. All right. So here's the 15. All right, so that's the old. That's the new. This is the old. The times, let's see, have they made any changes here? They might have added service on here. That's about the same on the morning rush hour, but there's some changes in the evening. So let's talk about the evening here. You notice that a lot of the Hempstead trips now are gone, so they've been extended. They've extended all the service up to Roosevelt Field. You could say they've improved service to Roosevelt Field from the South Shore. The reason why they did this, obviously, is logical, because there's no reason to end the trip at Hempstead most of the time, when it could just go over to Roosevelt Field. So you'll see here that they actually are. That's actually the old schedule. This is the new. Which one do I look at? This is the new one. Yeah, I don't see. All right, there's one short run here. So I'll see. There may still be some short runs. I might be reading this wrong. No, those are the Mineola trips. Yeah, those are the Mineola trips. All right, so there's one short run at 6:37. Was that short run still there then? They didn't have that short run. Okay, so maybe they did reduce service out of Roosevelt Field a little bit, because let's see. 6:08, 6:40 was the old one. Now let's see. We have 6:05. 6:39. Not really. They actually added a trip out of. They added a short run from Hempstead. But I want to show you what they did in the evening, because I think this is where we see the changes more. I don't know if they did anything in the evening. Am I looking at the right schedule here? Let's see. All right, to Hempstead Roosevelt Field. Let's see. All right, so you have service every 15 minutes till 7:30 out of Roosevelt Field. Now you have service every 15 minutes until 7:46. I'm sorry, out of Long Beach. And you'll see here, all right, so they still have the short runs that end at Hempstead. But yeah, they've improved service it used to be half hourly. So instead now in the evenings out of Long Beach, you're getting a little bit more of 20-minute service here. So you have some more trips that are actually going out of Long Beach now. And the times are different out of Rockville Center. So 7:59, that time I think is still the same, but they've added a trip here at 8:14, and then the 8:29 trip now goes to Roosevelt Field. And then they have another one at 8. Yeah, I'm looking at the times at Rockville Center, but yeah, it looks like you're going to get better service on the 15. So they're improving the service on the South Shore. That's obvious. It's all about the South Shore. That's civilization. So that kind of makes sense. It's where the people are. There's just the people that matter anyway. And also the part of the problem. Also, I think NICE is also looking at it from a fare point of view. We have constant fare evasion in the middle of the island routes, whereas people pay on the South Shore. So, all right, 4041 is on here too. So let's look at that and see if there are any changes to that schedule. And then we've got to look at the 35 as well. So I can't cover all of these, but we'll cover a lot of them, or a number of them at least. So here is the 4041. Obviously, we're in headway management here, so it's not a whole lot to see, but let's see what we've got here. So we've got the headway management on the 4041. I'm thinking the schedule is probably still the same, pretty much. That's the old one. Let's look at the new one. All right, they actually did make some small timing changes now. So it's a little bit later. They're having it leave Freeport a little bit later, 8:14 and 8:44. And that's to make better connections with the, I guess, the trains or other buses or whatever. It kind of makes sense, I guess. So, yeah, I think it's, let's see. Oh, okay. They've extended, looks like they have extended the headway management now to 641 going out of Freeport, and going out of Mineola, they've extended it a little bit. So they've extended the headway management a little bit, as you see there. And then we could look at the weekend schedules here, the Saturday and the Sunday schedules here, see if there's been any changes there. Let's see if there's been any changes there. Don't think there has been. Doesn't look like there's been any. Okay. So some small changes there on the 4041. Nothing crazy. Let's talk about the 5455. That's had some timing changes to better meet with Suffolk County Transit. So we'll talk about that as well. So I'm not going to go over all of these, but I'm trying to go over a good number of them here. All right, so 5455. Let's go ahead and look at this. Here, it's off to the left side. Let's go over here, 5455, off the left side. Okay. Maybe a little too much. Let's just zoom that out a little bit more. All right. Show this a little. All right. It's kind of hard to show, share schedules, but let's look at this. So here we go. So 54 on the weekdays, 54, 55. The timing's a little different now at certain times. So you see they're leaving Amityville and getting to Amityville at different times. So instead of like this 8 o'clock trip, that used to be 7:54. So now it leaves 8 o'clock so people connect up with the Suffolk County Transit. So its arrival time in Hempstead's a little bit later, but 8:28. So you can see there's some changes here. Yeah, you can see just minor. These are minor changes, like within minutes. So let's see, 7:23, 7:54, 7:29, 8 o'clock. So you see the changes that have occurred. Weekends, there are also some changes. They kind of altered the schedule a little bit. Again, they try everything they can to like confuse you a little bit. You can see here they have basically the trips in gray operate on Saturdays. They're 54s. All right, so the old schedule had them both together with the 4 there, and you had every 45-minute service up till about 5:45, and then it was hourly after that, going out of to Amityville, going to Hempstead. You had 45-minute service till 7 o'clock. Let's see what we got now. So now it's actually half hourly at certain times. So it's half hourly at certain times, hourly at other times, and up till 5:35, and then it seems like it's hourly. So it seems like they kind of got rid of some of the night trips here a little bit, a little less. The 54 doesn't run. The last 54 is that leaves Amityville is at 4:24. No, the last 54 that leaves Hempstead is 4:24. The last one that leaves Amityville is 5:35 on a Saturday. When they, yeah, it used to run a lot later. So they actually did cut service off the 54, 55, which kind of isn't a surprise because it doesn't really carry that many people. 54 kind of ran, but here's the thing. All right, the 54 got cut, but the 55 used to have more bigger gaps. So, like if you wanted the 55, for instance, 614, then 754. So now it's just going to run every hour. So they kind of had some uneven scheduling there. It's not like it's half hourly per se. You had like 50 minutes. It was kind of uneven. That's actually better because it's more of a clock face headway, which is more easier for people to understand. But you do have 805 and then 840, so they're still providing some extra trips. They're trying to better connect up with the Suffolk County Transit, redesign now because you have more routes serving Amityville. I mean, you got the 1, you got the 2, and the 4 there. And those are all routes that are in red, which means they run every half an hour on weekdays. So let's go back over here. I'll do the 35 now because they say that they cut service on the 35, so we got to go over that. We'll see how much they cut from Westbury. All right. Let's make that a little bit bigger. Be a little too big. All right, that's good. I'm trying to get the size the same here. All right. Oh, a little bit. All right. Well, let's see. All right. So this is the old one. All right. Let's see. The old one, you can see that a good amount of service out of Westbury. Now the new one. All right, they reversed them a little bit. This is going to. Did they reverse them? No, it's the same. Okay. All right. This is the new one. Yeah. Let's see what they did here. So 620, 720. I don't know if that's really a difference. They still had an hour gap over here. It's the old schedule right here. They still had an hour gap. So it doesn't look like there's a big difference here. Oh, they have trips. They're trying to split it now. So they have some trips that begin at Westbury and end at Roosevelt Field because they probably want to interline it with something else. That's probably what's going on. So they're trying to split it up a little bit. All right, in the evenings, let's see what they got here. Yeah, in the evenings, they cut service. So in the evenings, you had hourly service, and then they had half hour. I don't know what they were doing here. But whatever the case is, now going to Westbury after the trip that arrives at Westbury at 7:08, you're going to have every hour, whereas the old schedule, no, you had every hour after 5:53. So it's only sometimes some improvements, I think, in my opinion here. So it's not as bad as they made it out to be, at least on the weekdays. Let's go look at the weekends. That's probably where we're probably going to see bigger changes. So here's the Saturday schedule, the old Saturday schedule. So let's see. Yeah, every hour. And then the evenings, you had every half hour. Let's see what we got here. All right, so they got some of these trips in gray, which are Saturday trips, I guess. So Saturday trips, they're gonna start at only on Saturdays. So those trips are gonna serve Westbury, not on Sundays. All right. Let's see. The last trip going out of Westbury out of the 35 is 10:25. The last one gets in is 11:09. You're actually getting more you're actually getting later service going into Westbury, but not as frequent. So let's see. Going into Westbury at night, yeah, you're only gonna have hourly service. I mean, yeah, only hourly service on Saturday nights now. No, last trip gets in at 10. I'm sorry, last trip gets in at 10. The old trip, last trip got in at 10:10. Okay, so you're cutting service for sure over there. Let's look at this here. It's just one again. They combined the Saturday and Sunday. Anything to make it, so they can have to make a smaller schedule. They can do that, basically. But south of Roosevelt Field, you're going to get every half an hour service. So again, if you're on the South Shore coming from Baldwin, I mean, it's all favored to the South Shore. You can see anything that's sort of south of, toward the South Shore, it's treated better, than the middle of the island. That's obvious. That seems to be what I'm getting here, going through all these schedules here. Okay. I'm trying to go over, think of all the things that they've changed and some of these other. All right, they did change some of the timing on the 25. So we can talk about that, I guess. Um, so they did change the timing on the 25. I think that's the last one we're going to go over. I think for tonight. All right. You can look at them all yourself. But just be aware the schedules are changing and tomorrow. So 25 has some timing changes. Um, Basically, instead of leaving at the Lynbrook, like let's say you're in the evening here, so instead of leaving Lynbrook at 8:12 or 7:12 or 7:42, it's going to be at 7:27, 7:57, 8:27. So the times are going to be different. So keep that in mind. So weekend times stay the same, it looks like. So yeah, I got a headache going. I can't look at these schedules and screens without getting a headache for too long. So that's it. A lot, some changes going on. Obviously, most of the benefits going to the South Shore, as always. They're getting more frequent service. 15 is getting more frequent service. The 35 is getting more frequent service south of Roosevelt Field while they cut service to Westbury. So, I've gone over everything I can. Have a good night.